Hello, everybody. I think I'm live right now. Just getting my settings all set up. Can you hear me properly? Ross. Hi. Thanks for joining. Thanks for replying. So let me get my slides on here and see how that works, and then we can kick off the session. Please feel free to state your questions in this chat, and I think with the number of people joining, it can be quite personal. So don't shy out. There's time to go into individual questions. I like that actually. So here we go. Oh wow, here we go. Presenter view. Here we go. So I had a chat with Lee. This whole entire session, transformation, and I work at Diamanti. We have a container platform, and sometimes I recognize people have a hard time relating the digital transformation to the technology that we're talking about. So conceptually, right? What is an application? What are the microservices? What are the containers? What are we all doing, right? So this session is about what do I think a digital transformation is, because there's various ways to describe it. And we slowly but surely get to some of the technicalities of containers and whatnot. I won't go into too much detail. We have 3 sessions today. Eric Jan is going to be on main stage. He's going to talk about Diamanti as well, maybe a little bit more detailed than I. And there is a breakout session by my CTO colleague, Boris. He is really technical, so I also expect him to go into a little bit more detail. I'm just here to talk about, well, digital transformation conceptually, containers conceptually. How do we fit in? Why could we be relevant to your business? So, what is the digital transformation? So the agenda. What is digital transformation? Kubernetes and digital transformation. What does Diamanti offer? And some time for Q&A. I've got half an hour. I'm not expecting to get to the full half hour, but yeah, let's see how we get along. So, where I wanted to start off with, hoping that you can see my screen properly. I think you're sharing the wrong screen, Friso. I can see your presenter tools and notes. All right. Okay. Oh, so it takes the entire screen. Hey, thanks. Let me try to rearrange. Yeah, so it's the first time that we're using this software. So typically, then it doesn't take the. I'm presenting this screen, so maybe I present the other screen. Can I adjust it? No. Here we go. Whoa. Here we go. So this is better. Sorted, I guess. All right. Yeah, so yeah, so my speaker notes are gone, but I tried it a couple of times, so I guess I'll be fine without them. Hoping this can be fine. That's better. Okay. Hey, thanks, Ross. Um, so this is a picture, right? So I wanted to show you in what kind of industries we're all working with applications. And it's not so much that this is new, right? But the way we are using applications in cars, I don't know if you have seen the last release of Mercedes, for example, and the way they go about, I think there's over 350 sensors in a car. Where our mobile devices get more heavy every time they do a refresh. It's cars, it's watches, it's mobile phones, it's even in your fridge, right? It's all going to be connected. So it's what the point I'm trying to make here is it's more software. So more lines of code that need to be developed or new functionalities need to be created. That requires more software. But it's not only that we expect more software, we also expect a better user experience, right? I think so. We were quite happy when the first Nokia 3310 came out with what it could do, but our expectation level is also increasing. We do not expect our apps to crash. We do not expect a fault. We do not expect, because if it happens, then we're just disappointed as users. So, and most of the times, so for example, with the cars, it is now why you would buy a Mercedes, right? Because of the connectivity, because of a good user experience, because of the good software. So we are increasingly dependent on writing good software, and this brings me to my next slide. That's a huge challenge, and the only way to go about such a huge challenge, to meet that customer expectation, to meet the increase of demand of good software, is, well, digital transformation, right? It's we talk about digital transformation. Every organization is in somewhat of a digital transformation, but to me, so here are the three components that to me are about the digital transformation. It's about first the people, right? Because it's the people that make the changes. It's the people that do everything basically in that digital transformation. But it's also the people that think of the processes, that have thought of the processes, and it's also the people that need to change the processes and need to rethink the processes. And then it is also about technology. And today I'm with a technology company, right? So Diamanti is an appliance company. We sell hardware, we sell software. That's definitely technology part. So I'm going to be discussing today a lot about the technology and what what kind of technology we have created, so we can help meet those challenges, increase the speed of your deployments or cycles, shorten the cycles, all of that in while you were in that digital transformation. We can obviously train your people, and we can help you think about the process. Primarily, we're going to talk about technology today. So that's better. All right. So people's work is changing, right? We're in the midst of this terrible COVID pandemic, and all of a sudden our work is very different while being in a digital transformation, because our demands in terms of innovation are not getting less. We still expect the best customer experience, so but we have this extra challenge, right? And so I put this funny picture here on the right. I think it's also Lee. We had a chat about it, but how's your home setup? How's your home office, right? Everybody's sharing proud pictures of how they're working from home. It's really how we go about work and where we learn and how we cooperate with colleagues is changing, and that's digital transformation. It's also about the different processes and methods, right? So I'm not going to be in this session and tell you how you should change into an agile organization, or what the differences between waterfall and agile are, and how to get from A to B. This is not it, but this is what we're talking about. How do we continuously deploy new upgrades in software? How do we continuously improve the the applications that we show to our end users. So all of that has changed, and now it's also about the apps, right? Because if you want to become faster, with this, we used to work with monoliths. Monoliths are huge applications with thousands of features in a single application. And when you would want to release such an application, you would be waiting on a lot of other people who are working on the same application. And this is what we're doing. We're cutting up all of these applications into microservices, right? So on the left, you see one single pie. This is the idea of a monolith. And on the right side, you see an application cut up into 4 different microservices. And those microservices are connected through APIs, right? The fun thing about cutting up such an application is that it can now operate independently, right? So if you want to improve such a microservice, you're not dependent of the entire monolith to be able to update your application. This means that you can do sprints. It means that you can release more quickly, and eventually that drives customer satisfaction because simply you're able to update your application quicker to the latest demands of your customers, right? And because it's a smaller iteration, it's a reduced risk, gives you more flexibility, and eventually, yeah, continuous improvement. It's all in lines with why would you enter into using Kubernetes and microservices and all of that. So that's technology, but now simplified, right? I wanted to explain that part because sometimes that's, yeah, skipped, lost your audio. Oh. Okay, audio okay here. Thanks, Ross. So when I talk about monoliths and when I talk about microservices, I wanted to be really precise, right? So what used to be the case and what is now the case. So I've just taken this screenshot of KLM, which is the Royal Dutch Airlines. I think everybody knows this, but for example, if you book a flight and you set your departing date and you set your arrival date, that's a certain search application. So back in the days when it was a monolith, that was an application in part of an entire website, right? But now these are all detached. So for example, when you're looking for a flight, that's a certain microservice that you're making a request for. But also the feedback loop is another application. It is now a microservice. And depending on how you want to go at this, you can determine how many microservices you want to cut up your entire website into, right? And this is customer-facing websites. There's a lot of applications we don't see, but similar is happening in that area. They're cutting up bigger applications into smaller pieces so you can get faster iterations, get the quality up, and that is what is happening conceptually, right? And then so the layers supporting the apps need to change well. So in my last slide, I was saying, well, we are really cutting up the applications, but it has really strong implications into all of the layers that support running of that application, right? So if you cut up an application into 4 different applications, it still needs power, it still needs network, it still needs storage, it still needs, so you can imagine that the underlying layers, the middleware layer, the network layer, the operating system becomes a very complex kind of environment if every individual microservice still needs that, right? So we are talking about containers, and we're talking about Kubernetes, and basically what I'm trying to say here, we can take care of that. You know, we want our customers to be able to focus on the application layer. The application layer is customer facing. It can be it can be any application, but please focus on that because you should be focused on that because that's what makes you beat your competition. And let us take care of the rest. We have this Diamante Kubernetes platform. We have thought about the complications of running microservices. This is why we hired engineers. They've been coding for the last 6 years to get this platform up and running. And we are here to support you. So you can just focus on your application. And there's a lot, right? There's a lot of complication with going to Kubernetes. I'm not sure what your background is, but Kubernetes is complicated. Even the guys that have written Kubernetes are saying it's complicated. So don't bother getting the network sorted. Don't bother getting the right infrastructure and start screwing it all together, because that's distracting you from the things that are important to you, your applications, right? You make the best applications and you deploy them on a Diamante cluster, a Diamante Kubernetes platform, right? That's the simple message I've got. And then, it is also about not creating silos in an enterprise environment. It's about breaking down the silos. And what do I mean with that? So this is from a technology angle still. So the search engine I was just talking about with the KLM, right? They have a very specific requirement when it comes to search, right? It needs to be quick. It needs to be structured. It needs to be able to be refreshed on a daily basis. That's a particular requirement for such a search application. That might not be the case for every other application. But if they would choose a particular way of working, that might be conflicting with another application, right? What you want is an environment which can support the search engine, an environment that can support the booking system, an environment that can support how much flights are there still bookable. So it's a wide variety of applications. It can be greenfield and brownfield. It can be a back-end to front-end application. It can be stateless, it can be stateful. It can be lightweight, it can be data intensive. Diamante can run it all. And that makes that doesn't create a silo. We see that a lot of certain requirements puts people in a section they don't want to be in, because then all of a sudden you're in that silo. Wide variety of deployment options. Well, it's on-prem, new infrastructure, that's an option, but you have also the existing infrastructure. How do you tap in the investments that you've already made? And then public cloud. Everybody is leveraging public cloud right now, and you should, but that shouldn't be a silo at itself. You shouldn't deploy somewhere in Microsoft and do not know where the application is. You want a single environment that shows you where your applications are running, whether it's on the cloud, if it is on premise, if it is on old or new infrastructure, it doesn't matter. It needs to be in a single place where you can manage all of these applications. Complex distributed solution. So there's so many components in a enterprise, and how does it tap in? So it also needs to be open, right? So the philosophy should be open, not so much closed. I think we all have seen in the past where software companies are trying to close down the parameters around their software. I think we are all heading towards an open source system where software becomes more available to everybody, and you should be able to leverage the global knowledge and deploy the knowledge of others, and that's software components on your infrastructure. So embrace openness and freedom. Enterprise operational ready. Well, we've got, and this is a little bit more technical, that's orchestration, multi-tenancy, security, monitoring and telemetry, backup and recovery, quality of service configuration. These are things that are needed by the enterprises of today. You don't need to know technically what it all means, but say you want to have you want to book a flight, and you have paid for it. You also want to make sure that it is actually booked, and that at a later stage, such a booking is not retraceable and it is lost somewhere in the systems, right? So you need reliable systems to get a good, proper customer experience. So all of these things here, orchestration, multi-tenancy, security, they make sure that you can run applications reliably also when running containers. We've got all of this, so we can go into detail. I'll invite you to Boris' session if you're interested in what that all means, and how we help enterprises solve those security measures and all of that. So why Diamanti? Well, we simplify Kubernetes. You buy either our software or our hardware or a combination of it, and you can run Kubernetes in 15 minutes. We run it in the cloud. So we have it available. If you want to use it, please send me a message. I can get you to run a demo there. Freedom of cloud. Well, I haven't really covered that in this session. My other colleagues will, but we enable managing and moving all of the applications cross cloud, public and private. So I invite you to go to the next session and learn a little bit more about that. Well, fast time to production. Well, Kubernetes in 15 minutes, I just stated that, and running containers reliably and supported. So also support model. We're not sending you to a community of people that you're hoping to get the right answer from. We have engineers globally dedicated to support you with your with running Kubernetes environment, right? A lot of the open source software is not supported. We have dedicated engineers that make sure you can run the most rigid applications on our system. And I think with that, I wanted to end this session. I hope you. And I wanted to open for questions. So let me see. I don't see any questions. I'll give it another minute, but let me in the meantime thank you for participating and and giving me some feedback on my speaker notes and audio. I hope that didn't distract you from enjoying this presentation. I did. Thanks for the opportunity, Lee. Hope to catch you in the next. I think there's also this network environment. I'll hop in there and maybe we meet each other there. Thank you so much.